What is
Hello.
up?
We're here. We're back.
Welcome to
The
Watch Your
longest sort of
Work.
like, not that this is work, this is fun, but like longest vacation
Oh,
from
seriously.
a regular thing in my life. Good to be back. Hello, everyone. Mac Attack.
Hello.
Thanks for being here.
For real. Mac Attack the realist. Shout out to the WNBA collectors community putting out like 3 get playbacks a week. Hey, sup, Deep Threat. That's awesome. Yeah, we've been out a while. We missed like our birthday. We missed everything that happened in free agency. We missed
There was too much excitement.
Too
we
much.
needed to just, it took us this long to absorb everything that was free agency.
That's what we can say. Yeah.
As we had to get a show in before all that is March Madness comes up. So sneaking one in before March, while we can still talk about all that without kind of the other news coming in. So
right. I feel like our show break has been so long that like if it was on a Fox broadcast, like they would show like the last time Watch Your Work had a show, this was the #1 song in America.
Yeah, right.
A gallon of gas cost this much, right?
Yes, this show hadn't had its finale yet. Like there'd be a whole, we didn't know Succession was done this season. Like there's so many things. There's so many things.
You know, the last time we had a show, you know, our student debt had been forgiven. That's all up in the air.
Yes, that's we don't know now.
Yeah.
Had The Last of Us taken the world by
storm?
No,
not at all.
Was that even a thing yet?
None of us had a daddy, and now we all have Pedro.
And the NBA All-Star break. That happened. God. We took our own WNBA All-Star break. WNBA All-Star streaming break was what we did. we took a break as well. So
All-Star break, load management, all of that.
Yeah. Although Grey's Anatomy just came back last week, so I feel like we're on the same, not quite season 2, but it's like the spring section of the show. We have our winter hiatus that we go on.
Oh shit.
But we're here. Like we're ready to talk the W, women's hoops.
Right. That's right. Man, where do we start? The A-line story is just, we were walking into a completely different W. Like
it is. When I was thinking about what we were going to talk about today, I was like, I need to just remind myself. I can tell you confidently the Aces and the Liberty teams. And confidently, you might even be a stretch. I can get you their starters.
Mm-hmm.
I could work through it.
Mm-hmm.
And I could tell you a couple other key moves from there, but I don't know if I could tell you a full starting 5 for any other team in the league right now.
I would love to play this game. Do we want to start our game like now?
Good. Yeah. I truly like, this is one of those things where I'm like, I am not confident about any of my answers, that I don't even think I'm going to give you any. So if you'd to.
So to give you like the backstory.
If you know in the chat, we'll pick a team and we'll start seeing who we can name. But
yeah, just throw a team out there. We were going to start with the Seattle Storm because I sat down to this and I thought, I feel like I have a good sense on some of the teams. And then I thought about the Storm and I'm like, oh man, I maybe know 3 of their players at this point.
No, their mascot's going to be playing next season. They don't have any. Everyone's gone. Sue's going to come out of retirement just because she has to.
Just for need. Yeah.
Yeah.
Noel Quinn suiting up again.
Her wife's going to join the W. Like Megan Rapinoe is going to be on the Storm just because they need bodies.
Half of the OL range just like show up because we heard you needed help. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. So I'll give you first crack at this.
I quite literally, I can picture tweets of people there. Didn't Sammy Whitcomb?
That's a great one. Yep.
I know that.
Okay.
That's it. That's all I got.
That was a deep pull. I think the first answer is like
the Liberty stuff. So the Liberty movement I have I'm a little better at. So like where they went, just because I thought so much about how they were gonna get Stewie and Vandersloot on the team. Because I was like, I don't know. Like I see how it could happen. are we really gonna get both of them after getting Jonquel? So some of those moves feel a little bit easier to follow, but that's all I got.
Okay, well, I was gonna say Jewel Lloyd with my first
Okay.
pick, if
Yep.
that's what I got.
Yep.
Okay, who is the third member of the Seattle Storm?
Jewel Lloyd's who I was trying to get, but my brain kept saying Jordan Canada. And I think she moved, but I don't know where. But may
Jordan
not
Kim,
have.
I'm pretty sure she re-signed with the Aces. Or with the Sparks.
I
I
think so
can't.
too.
Yeah.
But
Mhm.
that was what my brain was stuck on.
Right. I can't
That's
look.
it. That's all I got. Jewel Lloyd, Sammy Wickham.
Okay. If
I
we're
feel like I
playing
can
like
see
Family
one
Feud
other like
style,
storm image, but I don't
yeah,
know. I can't get the face.
I would say Ezzy Magdebar is still on the Storm.
That's good.
And if I could,
All right, I'm pulling it up now.
no, let's bring up this roster. Let's go.
You can keep going. You seem to have a decent
After this,
handle on
I don't know. People are
Seattle
gonna wonder what the hell
Storm.
they showed up for.
I know.
Like they don't
Guys,
even know
we're
players on here. Oh.
our hiatus. This is how nuts, to our credit, this is how nuts free agency was,
Uh-huh.
because there's no Stewie. Sue retired.
There we
And
go.
like that's
Mercedes
who
Russell.
you think of. There
Kia
you go.
Nurse signed with them. Okay.
Oh, yep. Oh, and
Teresa
Teresa
Plaisance.
Plaisance. Okay.
Yeah. Vonnie Turner. Shout out Nebraska. Um, Everyone else.
Yes.
Jasmine Walker. I mean, I've seen play. Minutes, several minutes. Everyone else don't have a real good sense of.
Yeah.
It's rough. It's rough out there.
So we got three of the starting five. So it could have been worse. Could have been much better.
I think it was. I mean, the Sammy Wickham was an impressive pull on that
But that was just the New York
first
stuff.
go
And her
around.
going back, like that felt fun. That was memorable to me. That really stood out. So but otherwise, yeah, that's all I got. And then I mean, there was just so much movement. I think if you were to ask kind of man on the street style, what WNBA players do you know? And someone were to give you a handful of names, they're either on the Aces or the Liberty. I'm trying to think of who somebody could name other than Brittany Griner and Diana Taurasi. Those would be my exceptions. Maybe Skylar Diggins Smith, but if outside of those names, they're on the Aces or Liberty.
And the other three are
Or they
on
think
the
Sue Bird's
Mercury.
still in the league. Like what else? You know what I mean? Like what?
No,
Can you
absolutely.
think of a name
You
that's
think of
sort of your average?
a marquee name in the league, they are on those two franchises.
Yes.
I mean, then I will ask you: is this a good thing for like take outside the like whatever nefarious like outside the rules things like Mark Davis and Josiah did to like make these rosters complete? Is it a good thing for the league?
That's also, we should talk about what
for
we
sure.
think with these like rumors
Fake jobs.
happening.
Yeah.
I'm sort of like this. It feels like they worked the system in a way that is probably allowed. And that to me is extremely strategic. And I think that every other league with a ton of money does it. Is my guess. So I kind of love that the W has that drama. I think it's good. I think it's good. I think this super team era in the W is fun. I am a little worried about the quality of other games, but I do think it kind of evens out the talent. Like I think you're going to have a lot of room for players to develop when you don't have, like, now so many teams have to restructure. Like, who's their offense going to run through? I think we're going to see much more of a team game across the league. Just because you're not really working with one or two even superstars anymore. Like it's either your whole team's superstars, and so they're all gonna have to kind of share the ball, or you're building up and you got to work hard. And so I think there's gonna be a lot of people that have to work hard and prove themselves. Right. And so I think that I think we'll see more stars develop as a result. That's my hope. That's my hope.
That would be, I mean, that's the optimistic view on it. I feel like in your sense, like whatever games, I mean, whatever games end up on any level of primetime, like
Yeah.
national showcase, that's going to be let's expand it to 4 teams and say that it's the Aces, it's the Liberty, it's the Mercury, it's the Mystics.
Yeah.
And then like
That's
I'm
who
looking
you're
at the
looking at.
season and I'm thinking like, would I watch Dallas and Seattle like on a Tuesday night, or
But
would I
I
watch
feel that
something else?
way about the NBA.
Oh yeah.
And so that you've been able to create this discrepancy between the best in the league in this way, like especially where so many teams make the playoffs. Like some of these teams are going to be in just because of the numbers. But when you're able to
Because
distinguish,
someone
like
has to be.
right, because they just have to be, like that's just how the numbers work. But now that you've been able to create this distinction of like these are the teams people want to watch, and then you have the potential for upsets, and you have this like underdog mentality that we're starting to build versus like everyone's kind of at this same stagnant level, and then you have the Aces. Like I think now that there's way more competition for them, like the highs are going to be really high and the lows are probably going to be really low. But I think that's closer to the NBA. I think that's like, I think there's something there, and I think that the higher the highs go, I feel like that's what people are going to remember, and so that's going to help the W as a product. And I think it's going to force Kathy to have to make some decisions about kind of what the league looks like in the future and expansion, because there's a lot of talent coming up. And so I think this sets up a fun couple years with these super teams, but then I think we're going to see it kind of level out when all these girls from the NCAA come on in. Because there's a ton of talent there. So
I love what you mentioned about like whoever is just like sort of like under like that top 4 or whatever, and just sort of just like all you're doing is just to be kind of like an FU to like the top 4 teams.
Yeah.
Like,
but they're going to play like that. And a lot of times good teams play down. And so I think we're going to get some fun games out of that. But yeah, I do think there's going to be some like true garbage time
completely
basketball.
So let's see. So let's compare this to last year. Like the garbage teams last year, like Indiana, Minnesota kind of was on that line. And then there were sort of like lower playoff teams where like it wasn't great basketball, but they were feisty. It was fun.
Yeah.
I feel
and
like
a lot of those teams are still fun to watch. Like I'm really excited to see Atlanta this year. I'm excited to see how the Fever have developed now that some of those really fun rookies have a year under their belts. Like I think there's a lot of opportunity for some other kind of fun dialogue and moments and games. But yeah, I can't wait for all of the Aces Storm matchups.
I feel like the garbage maybe expanded a little bit, but like, you say, I think Atlanta is going to be so much fun to watch. Chicago is going to be so much fun to watch. And if you put them in like
that's another one.
Oh my God. Like that's a punch you in the face kind of team. Like I love them.
Yeah. I could probably name more Chicago than I think, but that's another team where I'm like, who do they have now?
Let's play it. Let's go.
Because Candace is gone.
All right. You started with Seattle. Let me go to Chicago. Let me not click on Chicago and cheat and look at the roster. Kalia Copper still on Chicago.
Yeah, that's the only one I'm confident about. Who else do they have? It's so funny. They haven't had Steph Dolson for like a whole year. And I'm like, where is she?
Steph is in your backyard.
I know. She's in New York. And I know that, but my brain's like thinking of that championship team. Because Azare's gone.
Azare's on the Sparks.
Azare, that's fun. Kalia Copper. Oh, who'd they just sign? Courtney Williams? Did they get?
Man, Courtney Williams is on Chicago.
Yeah, because she and Kalia Copper had a back and forth of like we're dogs.
Oh my God, I totally forgot that Courtney Williams signed to Chicago.
Yes, and there was that whole like during the season them fighting over that jump ball, like a playoff game, and now they're teammates. So that seems very fun.
That is.
So Courtney Williams in Chicago. That one I do remember.
Yeah. They added Marina Mabry.
Okay.
In that trade.
Ooh,
like that 4-team trade.
Feisty team. Chicago. That's right.
Izzy Harrison.
Okay.
The other one I know that they signed is Elizabeth Williams, and they also re-signed Bette Gardner, who feisty, like her defense is like smothering as like a rookie.
That team is sort of building around Kalia Copper. They're going to play hard. They're going to play
Yeah.
fast. They're going to play aggressive, and it could really work for them. I think that a lot of teams like may not be able to keep up.
They have that like
Um,
that Ka Copper, like Don Staley, like
there's a
Philly
grit to
energy.
them
Yeah.
that I'm excited about. Marina Mabry
Completely.
too. Like there's a mentality. It feels like they're building,
Yeah.
uh, which is fun. And then to have a team like that, and then to have clear front runners and favorites in the
Mhm.
Liberty and the Aces, and to have a team like Chicago be like to give those players a chip on their shoulder feels
100%.
dangerous.
Yeah.
Feels dangerous. It's like, why'd
Yeah.
you man, you fired them up. So I hope that translates.
We get some like Ka/Sophie stare down, like
Mm,
kind of energies all year. Like that's the
yes.
team that you're building.
Yes.
I love that.
That'll be
Um,
fun.
yeah, other fun team. Like
I think
I think
Mystics pretty
Atlanta's.
much
Oh,
stayed the same.
Mystics added like Brittany Sykes and pretty much stayed the same.
Yep.
They let go of Rui Machida, which pour one out. I understand.
Yeah.
Kind of broke my heart. And I think Atlanta is just going to be like just borderline really good. I mean, you
Yeah.
pair Ryan Howard with Alicia Gray, you have another year of like Cheyenne Parker, you have AD, you man, who else do they have? They don't have Maya Caldwell. I need to remember that. But they re-signed oh my gosh, I'm blanking on names. They re-signed Ari McDonald. Like they're gonna be feisty too.
Yeah. They're fun, and they seem like they
Naz Hillman. They have Naz Hillman.
yep.
Mm-hmm.
They seem ready to rebuild and move forward and to make moves they need to make to create a team, but they're somehow doing it while also giving their talent time to develop. Like
Yeah.
they're trying to bridge that gap a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
It seems like it's going to work, but we'll see. I also wonder if teams now, after all the moves with the Aces and the Liberty, are like, we don't need this to be our year. Like if they kind of are like, we're going to use this year to get a lot better.
Attention, Indiana.
Like it doesn't have to be now. Like we don't have to. Yeah. If we do great, awesome. But like we're probably not the one of the top two teams at the end of it all. Like
that's where like if we're gonna go to like the other side and just like sort of talk about like what's perplexing, like it feels kind of weirdly perplexing that like Phoenix is going like halfway kind of all in. Like
yeah,
to
Phoenix
give like
is a weird
mm-hmm.
Phoenix is a weird situation.
They gave Tarasi like a near max for like multiple
Too
years.
much money.
Didn't give
What, 3 years,
so
right?
much. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Three,
Let me double check.
she's playing for 3 more years.
She could
That
barely play
surprised
last
me.
year.
That
Yeah.
surprised me.
2 years. 2 years. I checked.
2
2
years.
years.
Okay.
Still,
That makes more sense. And
she's
Skylar Diggins
234
Smith,
each year.
is she going to be ready? I don't know
I
when
don't
her
think
baby's
so.
due, but Grinder's back. I'm excited to see her play.
Oh, BG. I mean,
Jay Petty.
I know it's just like
yeah.
solo workouts, but looks to be doing well. I mean, they signed
Yeah.
Mariah Jefferson, which is a signing that I really like. She's a like
Mhm.
if she's a starting point guard, she's capable. If she's your backup point guard, like that's incredible. The trade that like Diamond DeShields, Marina Mabry trade brought over like Michaela Onyenwere, and like that's at least interesting. That helps with
Mhm.
like the cap because she's still like on a rookie deal. They gave Sophie north of 150,000 like per year, which is a lot. I just don't know. Like Skylar Diggins, like probably still hates her coach. Like
I know it feels like
what's going
the
on
vibes
there?
are off.
Yeah.
And I think where so much of the focus will be on BG coming back, it may help kind of dynamics where it kind of gives them that central, like that's what a lot of the talk about Phoenix is probably going to be, at least for the start of the season. So
for
maybe
better or
that gives them
worse.
some time to, right? Like nobody's fueling the fire if that's what we're all talking about. Like we're all on the same page about that. Glad BG's back. Let's see her play kind of thing. So maybe that kind of keeps things a little tamer, but I can't imagine they've resolved everything they needed to resolve at this point.
Okay, so let me just like in Kelsey, in your brain, you like, it's not even like a coach, like, which I won't put you in like the coach's seat, but like you, a coworker, like someone you manage at work, like takes your something that you said and like quote tweets it on Twitter with like a clown emoji, like is, I mean, you can't bounce back from it, but like what's the road back to that?
Well, and this is where my response is different, because this is the WNBA and it's a
Mm-hmm.
very public entertainment focused,
Yeah.
like it is an athletic focused thing, but like the W is for entertainment.
Mm-hmm.
So in that regard, I think it's great for entertainment value. And I am not in a field where entertainment, right? Like if someone's doing that in my frame of reference, it's just to be mean.
Yeah.
But the only people seeing it are probably people in my bubble, and it
Mm-hmm.
probably doesn't, there's the impact is not there, right?
Fair.
So like
Fair.
it's so hard for me to wrap my head around what a comparable workplace situation would be for a layperson like me who's literally has one coworker. Like the job I have right now, I have like one coworker.
Yeah.
So um
God,
and
that
if she were to say something, I'd be like, good for you. Let's talk about it at work tomorrow. I would love some workplace drama. um so this is a hard question for me. But yeah, I mean, I think there's probably way more of that than we even see.
Mhm.
Because if you think of like, I think of like high school practices I was a part of, and just
Yeah.
the way tensions build if you're
Mhm.
in any sort of competitive environment, like if you're playing, 3-on-3, or like the drills coach would do, like
Mhm.
people would get intense. And that was
Mhm.
part of the point. Like you wanted to get in that competitive spirit so that you were practicing at a high level. But when you do that, like sometimes it's hard to turn that off and tensions rise and things get said. And that's the job of a coach, is to kind of manage all of that. Um, and so it was clear that it's not managed well outside of, like, probably within the organization, if it's kind of this well known to all of us.
Yeah.
Um, but I don't know. I kind of love it. I'm sort of like, bring whatever attention we need to the W, get the storylines going, get the villains, give me some villains.
Give
Like,
me the heel energy. Yeah.
yeah, I
Mhm.
will say my sort of reactions to Skylar Diggins Smith have changed over the course of last season. Where like I was fully like, she's amazing. Anyone would be lucky to have her. Like that,
Mhm.
she is one of the top players in the W. And now I'm like, she kind of seems like a problem. Like it seems hard to be on her team.
100%
And
with
I
you.
don't know if that's a Diana Taurasi effect, because I also think that's true of DT, but I think that
Mhm.
DT's been in the league for so long and has like, she was voted as the greatest of all time in the W, and she's still playing. Like I think that
Yeah.
that's like pretty incredible. Maybe it's a DT effect for Skylar Diggins Smith, but I don't know. She seems that the vibes feel different. My vibes towards Skylar Diggins Smith are definitely different now than I think they were at the start of the season.
100%. I think like July of last year, like I'm ready to write like 4,000 words about like Skylar Diggins Smith like really is an MVP candidate and da da da. And then by like the end of like that season, when she's like stepping away from the team and just like all drained, and
Yeah.
like the moment in like Barclays where she's like basically yelling at her coach to like, why am I still in
We
this
were at
game?
that game,
Yeah, you were at
and
that
I was
game.
like, it looked like a full temper tantrum.
Oh yeah.
And I was like, this, you're throwing a tantrum.
Mm-hmm.
And it seemed off. And I was like, I know I'm probably
Seems
missing a
bad.
ton of context.
Yep.
I'm missing so much context, but of the context I have of this game specifically, you're this was like teacher Kelsey coming out. I'm like, I don't feel like the reaction matches the problem. The intensity of the reaction does not match the
This is
degree
the
of the issue.
this is the problem. This is the intensity you brought to the
Yeah, so if
problem.
you're
Mhm.
this angry and it's this much of a problem, we need to talk about this and work through our feelings. Um, and so that's the impression I got in that Barclays moment. And then I was just, all the stuff that kind of goes into that.
Well, I mean, men have a well documented history of being too emotional to play sports. So I think we need to reevaluate all of that.
This does remind me of the college conversations. I'm blanking on her name now. She's so fun. Angel Reese.
Oh yeah,
People saying that
absolutely.
she's getting too angry. And I love that she's like, I am allowed to get angry and emotional on a court. This is a game I love to play. Like, do not tell me to like temper my emotions kind of thing. And I'm like, yes,
Seriously.
let her. Yes. And same to
100%.
Skylar Diggins Smith. Like, let her get angry. It's just when she's the only one, it's kind of like, And when it's from the bench, I think that's also a difference to me. If you're getting like angry, emotional, fired up in game or like in support of the game.
Yeah.
But when it's about you and not the team, that's what I'm like, well.
When it's clearly directed at a single person on the team and like
Yeah.
it's not getting better over the course of the season and like no one's doing anything about it, like that's a struggle. And that's kind of where I was at the end of last year is like you can't blame her for what happened in Dallas because Dallas treated her like garbage when she was pregnant. But I mean, she has had sort of like some well-known sort of like situations with other teams, and this is like another one. And so, I mean, she's an incredible player, and I don't think you could count her out of like any situation, but like some stuff needs fixed.
My hope for her is that that her level of play skyrockets to a degree at which we're like, no, she deserves to be mad that she's not getting more playing time. And like, she deserves to be mad that the offense isn't running through her. And she's known this the whole time. And we were all wrong. Like, I would love a year from now to be like, yeah, no, she knew. And we did it.
Oh,
and
for
like,
sure.
good for her kind of thing. But
for sure. I think we can, if we see another year of like Vanessa Nygaard sort of like kind of looking like the rookie head coach as she is, like I think scales tilt totally in like favor of Skylar of like she saw this
Skylar
before
Diggins
any of
Smith,
us.
like goes to another team and just excels. Like
Mhm.
I do hope that for her.
Yeah, absolutely.
And wish that for her. But
Yeah.
it'll be interesting.
Oh, damn.
Speaking of teams treating pregnant women like garbage.
What a transition. And like it's what's sad is like that doesn't narrow it down a whole ton. We could like
specifically De'Arica Hamby is into the various ACEs investigations.
It's just added to the list of like speaking of like having like a history. What's this recent history of the ACEs? You could not have had like a better year last year, a better turnaround, a better just like showcase of like what team culture and like continuity and like leadership and investment in women and just having a city behind like a group of women be like. And then within a couple years, just it was like my Top Shot balance. Like it was just down bad. Yeah.
Wild. I want to get t-shirts made that just says like investigaces. I think there's something there. So between De'Arica and all that, and then the what was it? They think that they were
skirting the salary cap.
Yeah. So essentially having organizations offer players brand deals, but it was in conjunction with their salary, their contracts. I feel like there's probably, I think the CBA frames it as like they can't be paid by an outside company for non-basketball for basketball services. Like, and so by having someone call them after, I just don't see a world where there's evidence to link it to their basketball playing salary. And maybe they have something with like timing of the phone calls, but I just find it hard to believe that that wasn't done in a way where it's easy to be fine. Like,
oh yeah.
Do I think that they definitely worked the system to their favor and their advantage? 100%. I am sure they used connections to be like, yeah, if you sign with us, you're going to have access to a lot of great deals. Like, but I also think that's just true of the ACEs, whether they had to say that out loud or not. Like, I don't think that's a surprise.
And it is certainly not it is not exclusive to the Aces, because isn't this like
No.
exactly the same thing that like Manchester City is going through, like the Premier League? Just like
Well, and even now, I think the Liberty is going to be under fire because the other piece of it is if they're paid significantly below their market value or below market value. I don't think it's
Mhm.
their market value,
Right.
but like that's where, but even that's so vague. Like, what is significantly below value when you're only allowing them to make up to $200,000
Mhm.
a year? So, like, Stewie took a huge pay cut. I think Jonquel took a pay cut. Sloot took a pay cut. Like, there's a lot of
Sleep
Liberty
took a huge pay
players
cut.
like
Mhm.
not making the max. Like Stewie should be making the max and would be anywhere else. What it was with Seattle.
Mhm.
Um so like what are they going to use as the barometer for that? Cuz then I think a lot of teams are in trouble. Or maybe just those two, but
I'm sorry. I'm looking at the Ace, like the Liberty cap sheet, and
yep.
you're so right. Like, okay, so before I share, tell me who are the two highest people paid
Highest
on
paid
the
Liberty players?
Liberty players.
It is I want to say it's probably Jonquel still
Mm-hmm. She's
and
one.
um it's none of the rest of the starting 5. Like, I don't think it's Sabrina, Stewie.
Yeah,
It's
this
it's whoever it's,
person's not in the star five.
I forget, but it's not Sloot, it's not Stewie, it's not Sabrina,
It's
but it's
Benija.
Jonquel. Yeah, and Betnijah. There we go. I was
Yeah.
like, "Who's the other starter?" I'm like, "Where's the other
Uh-huh.
name I'm looking for?"
Let's
Who's
just
been there?
look
Yeah,
at
because
that.
Sabrina still, I think, is on, like,
A rookie deal.
rookie deals.
Yep.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yep. Yeah.
Isn't that
Wow.
just nuts? They can
Good for
just
Betnijah, though.
get paid, girl. Yeah.
Yeah.
Um, yeah,
Look at
like
that
Kayla Thornton is a
team.
bargain at this point.
They just, added someone else today, too.
They
Miara
did.
Sabali. Am I getting that right?
Yeah. Not
Which
updated
every
on here
time the
yet.
Liberty's like, "We added this person." I'm like, "How?
How?
What do you mean?"
They have they have 138 left on the cap with 9 total players. So with still like 2 to add, like that's making like what Han signed for, like that training camp contract, non-guaranteed money.
Yeah.
Like,
They're gonna keep Marine, right? That would make me really sad if Johannes goes somewhere else.
does she even come over? Like, that's my question. I'm not
I don't
sure.
know. I hope so. She's so
Mhm.
fun.
She is. I think the plan, from what I like, from just things that I've heard, is that like Epiphany Prince is kind of that person to hold down like a point guard or backup point guard kind of set up, while like Maureen Johannes figures out like overseas commitments. And I hope that's the case, because having her in the league like makes everything
She's
so much
so
better.
fun. The entertainment
Yeah.
value, like, it is
Hmm.
so in their interest to keep her in the league for the
Yeah.
highlights alone. Like, that's
100%.
that's that social media, like, feed the algorithm with
Hmm.
Maureen Johannes clips. Like, that is what the W needs.
Absolutely agree.
Yeah.
So speaking of fun, we had a fun little, yeah,
Transitions.
transition. We
That's
had
a
a
video I
fun
need.
little basketball league startup last weekend. I had the first weekend of Athletes Unlimited kind of come and go, and your boy was lucky enough to do kind of a preview on Winsider about just like who are favorite players doing that, who are some folks to watch out. This is the first time that they're doing like a fantasy component with it. So like, who do you want to target for all of that?
And Prize Picks does, AU too, right?
I think so. Yeah,
Yeah.
that's a
That they
good
did
that's a good
last year.
point. Mhm.
I think they do overseas too. I thought we had some overseas
They
ball on
did.
Prize
Yeah,
Picks,
they do like
maybe.
Eurobasket too.
Yeah,
Yeah,
which is
which,
fun.
man, if I could keep up on that, that would be great. But we cannot. Uh, man, we were gonna set some like lineups on here, but your boy didn't like try to log in. So we'll do this later. Let's look first at like my favorite part of that first week of Athletes Unlimited is that sure there were like some big W names on it, but let's look at like this at this leaderboard because I am so hyped for it. If you didn't know, Athletes Unlimited, like players play on teams. They draft a new team each week and they play like 4 or 5 weeks, kind of 3 games per week. And players as part of a team collect like team points. They also collect individual points based on like stats to like add or take away points. If your team wins at the end of the quarter, you get so many bonus points. Teams win a game, you get bonus points, kind of all this stuff, and just puts everyone kind of on a leaderboard. There's about 40 some odd players kind of doing this. And it's a mix of like going through this list is a mix of like well-known WNBA players like Kelsey Mitchell is on it, Alicia Gray is on it, Natasha Cloud is right there, Isabel Harrison. And then it like, and like once you get sort of like down the list, there are players who like they played for like a Big Sky Conference team and they're like a youth pastor in like LA now, but they're like still part of this league. And like it's just this cool, just like mix of folks. But what I'm so excited about here is you look at this, like Ossie Sims, she's a vet, she's been in the league forever. Isabel Harrison, pretty established, but like these sophomores like Nalissa Smith, Naz Hillman, Avina Westbrook. Let's go down. Lexi Hull. Lexi Hull was one of those players that I was excited about. Like, didn't have a great rookie season, but closed out like her last 5 games with the Fever. Like, she was averaging like 12 points, shot a lot better. Yeah, way more involved. Kirsten Bell.
Yeah, that's fun.
Rode the bench entire way, like WNBA champion
probably
Kristen
will.
Bell. Yeah, still played super well. Didn't get a lot of time, but showing out like at first. And there was one, Veronica Burton, someone who's up there as well. Like played at Northwestern in college, defensive specialist, was like a backup guard for the Wings this past season. Is probably going to be a starter this upcoming year. Like those like WNBA sophomores did hella well. And then you can see, let's see, coming up on games this week. Let's go back to
the setup is just so fun.
I know.
Like it's cool you get to play with other people too and mix that up. I wonder if that's like the future of rec league basketball where
oh my
you
God,
just
right?
which I think would be awesome because then you don't have to worry about people not showing up on your team. You just like draft you just draft the next week or something.
And this is just like, I mean,
I don't know how
itself
you'd
is
set it
like
up, but
its own like WNBA preseason just kind of thing. Like it's a great, like they don't have to go overseas. They don't have to deal with everything that they have to, folks who play overseas. It's definitely not as much money. I think they make like 30,000 most likely, and like outside of bonuses for sort of those 5 weeks, which it's not bad money, but it's not great pro athlete
but hopefully
money.
that kind of becomes as that sort of builds out, that becomes a more viable option for players.
For sure. And then you can look at sort of like
cool.
what it looks like this week. Like Nalissa Smith is a team captain based on performance from last week. Isabel Harrison is, and they got to draft their team. They do like if you follow Athletes Unlimited on YouTube, they do like live drafts like in YouTube. And it's so much fun to follow along. Because Courtney Williams drafted first week and this woman has 0 filter. So she was just like, she wasn't swearing, but man, she was being probably more honest than she had to be about like why the players she picked were who she picked. So there's just a cool setup of looking at who's playing on here. There is a fantasy component of this where, you pick basically 4 players, a guard, a forward, and then like 2 utility spots. And based on the leaderboard points that they collect, like is how you do throughout the week. So like I picked my team last week. It was like Natasha Cloud and Jordan Canada because they were on the same team. And I thought anyone who played with Natasha Cloud was going to do really well. First game they did all right. I had Isabel Harrison. And then I had Alicia Gray. And then end of the week, it was like 150th out of like whoever's there. Like first night, I was like top 10 and then just tanked after that. But it's fun to just sort of like see how this plays out. And I have to tell you, they have the person who does the broadcast for this, if you haven't watched, does the WNBA games for the Phoenix Mercury. And oh my God, I can't think of her name off the top of my head. I should go like look it up. She is both like the corniest and the absolute best like court announcer in the world. Like she has just like these dad joke just like catchphrases that she just just throws out.
I love it.
And she has sitting right next to her like Cheryl Swoops, legendary, like Cheryl Swoops. And what's still so great about it is like Cheryl Swoops is the exact sort of just like same person she's been forever. Like she is like her Texas voice has not left her body like in all these years. And like great play will happen and you will just hear Cheryl like off like her face away from the microphone, just like hooing and hollering like at plays that happen just in the most like sort of just like old lady voice ever. And they're the best just pair. So if
What a
nothing
combo.
else, just
Yeah,
watch it for
check them
like
out.
wholesome announcers. It's amazing.
I would love if they created a fantasy system, if AU did it, where you basically created your own leagues that followed the same format. So, like, whoever wins your league that week then gets to draft. Like, you
Oh
have to
my
do a
gosh,
draft every week.
that would be
But,
amazing.
like, but you have individual point scorers, but then
Uh-huh.
you, like
Oh, that's incredible.
I think that'd be fun. I think there's a way to do it, and then AU just becomes its own, like, thing.
Mhm.
The game matches it's like the game within the game.
Yeah.
Uh, could be pretty
If
cool.
I know. I think what I'm looking for, like, for this week, because I still have to set my lineup because I think games start, tomorrow night. Um, or wait, this is their, like, preview show on Wednesday, so games start on Thursday, I think. Who am I looking for? I'm looking for, Layshia Clarendon. Um, Layshia played so well, in that first week, and they're gonna be kinda paired with, like, a great set of just like bigs and rebounders. And what Leisure Clarendon did last week, just getting to the basket, just being a part of just like everything offensively for their team. I think they're on Team Hillman. Yep, I'm right. So pair like Leisure Clarendon with like Naz Hillman, with Teresa Plaisance, and with like Alicia Gray, just like folks who can like really cut, like Teresa Plaisance was just in their first game. Mac Attack actually streamed this on Get Playback for WBCC, and Teresa hit like 5 threes like in the first half and played. Oh, Bandy's on fire.
Yeah, Mike just got home. I was like,
Oh,
I think
gotcha.
I'm like, either there's a stranger in my apartment or
Right.
Andy's waiting for my
But absolutely, like if I was gonna like pick someone who maybe is not going to have the highest like draft percentage, I think Elijah is going to do really well for this week. Just get assists all over the place. But it's so much fun to watch. My dad and I actually are going to the games on Saturday, thanks to For the W. We're
Oh yeah,
lucky enough
you
to win some of
you
those
won that
ticks.
giveaway.
Yeah, won that giveaway. We got courtside seats. We're making the
That's
drive
awesome.
down to Dallas to do that. But like that part is going to be an absolute blast. Yeah.
There you go. Have you picked an outfit?
I think we're sticking with the Sill jersey. My plan, like I started to like sort of like dig into like, well, what if I go just like straight like W hoodie or like something like that?
Yeah.
And I looked at the weather in Dallas and like it's like 65 like there all weekend, which can I survive like 65 degrees in a hoodie? Like it's been like 30, it's been like
Yeah.
30
Maybe
to
not the
40 degrees
best
here for like months. So like
choice.
I'll probably sweat through everything. Yeah.
I tried to
We'll
convince
see.
Mike to take my Kelsey Plum t-shirt to NBA All-Star. And I was like, that you should just bring W merch. Like,
That's the move. That's the move,
yeah.
Mike. Come on. Come on.
That's okay. He brought some other good fits instead. But
Also, like
I was
with
like,
your
are you
husband
sure you
being
don't want to
the
pack this?
that I mean, the move for the spouse is to like sneak it in the bag, like before they
Well,
go.
I I actually bought him outfits for All-Star the night, like right before. He was packing while I was at work, and he's
Oh
like,
my
I don't know
gosh.
what to wear to this. And I was like, you can pack my Kelsey Plum t-shirt, and then I stopped on my way home and brought him a couple of things.
Oh, you're the best. That's
But I was
amazing.
like, you should. Yeah, he liked it. I think he wore half. I think he wore some of it. He definitely wore some of it, and he kept the rest of it. So good sign. But I got all the stuff, and then I'm coming home on the subway from work with the bag of clothes I just purchased. And I was like, oh, he should just bring the Kelsey Plum t-shirt and like a W hoodie, like
For sure.
whatever
Yeah.
other W merch I can find.
He needs to use, you got to tell him to leverage this so rare influencer status to get us some W cards for the season.
Yeah.
Absolutely love to see that.
That's a good call.
Speaking of things you love to see,
really need a transitions video. It's just like
these are terrible.
Do you know what I would love is if we had a way to make a video, but it looks like the PowerPoint slides, you know, the dissolve effects and like
star swipe.
Star swipe.
Yep.
That's what I want. StreamYard could probably put that in for us.
They could totally make that happen. Kelsey, I cannot
Caitlin
tell
Clark.
you how I lost my mind when I watched this moment happen.
She's so good. And then in the post-game interview, Holly's asking her, like, what do you think when that shot went up? And she's like, I knew it was money. Like, Caitlin Clark. I saw comps of her and Diana, like to Diana Taurasi after she said that, of like the confidence of Caitlin Clark has Diana Taurasi vibes, was the general consensus.
Yep.
But yeah, she's good. She's real good.
Absolutely. So great. She did make news this week, like based on those like heroics against Indiana, which, I mean, it is no, like beating Indiana has to be on the same level in women's hoops as beating like
number
South
2
Carolina
right now, aren't
they?
they?
Like I thought I'd watched them play like last year and they were still like a top 5 team. I just didn't like see it as much with them, but like this year they like they like lost one game. Like beating them is on par with like beating like South Carolina. But Caitlin Clark also made news this week. She went on Dan Patrick's show, did an interview in like the content stuff that everyone is pulling out is kind of about her like what she talked about is that she at least has one more year before she becomes draft eligible in the W, but she's talking about taking that extra COVID year, and a lot of like inference is being made on like the reason she's doing that. It could be that she wants to win a title. It could be that she just wants to be the star of like a hometown school and do all that. Some others are saying like she could probably do better with NIL deals and flying charter as a college athlete.
It might be better on her body long term.
It might be better on her body.
Yeah. No, I think we're going to see that conversation come up a ton in the next couple of years, especially with that eligibility. And you like just what that means for teams too. Like I think the UConn example, I'm blanking on her name right now.
Paige?
No, not Paige. Well, Paige, I wonder, I don't think they like redshirted her because they want her to be able to come back. But with that extra year, I'm sure, like, I would think she wants to play for UConn and give them a shot at championships, especially with the talent that UConn's brought in. But UConn signed a player who had just graduated from Fairfield University. She played 4 years at Fairfield, and she's been doing amazing for UConn. And it's almost like a pre-W year for her, where she was incredible at Fairfield, but I don't think she would have gotten the attention and buzz she's getting now as a UConn player. And to be given this opportunity and to be just excelling in that role when they need players while Paige is hurt. Well, I think Azzy Fudd's still hurt too. And so like for her to have that shot, I think she has way better draft prospects now than she did before UConn. And so that she used that 5th year to help UConn out and it's like cool. She got her 4 years with her college team and got to be the star for them. And now gets to be a big deal at UConn. Almost in like this, it's almost like a basketball gap year where like, if you decide to graduate and then you have this extra year of eligibility, you just kind of get to hang out. And I feel like if you present that opportunity to a lot of college kids their senior year and give them that structure of like, you're going to play D1 basketball. Like, it's not like they're just, hanging out, but a lot of people like to do a +1. They like to hang out for that extra year. Like, I don't know if you're making more money, if it's good for your game, and if like for Caitlin Clark, if like her name in those rafters matters to her and she wants to break every school record she could break, like She's probably going to do it in 4 years anyway, but how
Yeah.
fun would that be to have the 5th year of eligibility? Um, it just seems fun. Develops your game. Like, I don't know. I can see the benefits.
I think I mean, it's certainly still like such a case of, I mean, it just seems like where like maybe the NCAA was like 30 years ago with like men's basketball, and that you can be just a household name. Like Caitlin Clark's already a household name,
Mm-hmm.
like
Mm-hmm.
pre-pro, and she can still reap some of the benefits of being a pro athlete by,
Yeah.
making money off of her name, image, and likeness.
Well, yeah,
By
the NAL is huge. Like it
yeah,
just
by being the biggest star. I mean, a lot of people have said like, how great is it for her to be the biggest star in Iowa? Like, okay, to like be a state, but like she's the face potentially after this year of the
Patrick
entire
Mahomes was
women's basketball.
retweeting her
Yeah,
the other day. Like half
entirely
the
of women's
Kansas City
basketball.
Chiefs were like, "Look
Yeah.
at Caitlin Clark."
Like
Like
she is a national like
she's
face.
famous.
Yeah.
Yeah. Caitlin Clark
Yeah.
is famous as a college ball player. And so she
Mhm.
doesn't really need like I think for a lot of like for NCAA men, their name is always associated with the NBA. There is
Mhm.
always this like where it's like as soon as they're good, it's like where are they going to be drafted?
Mhm.
Whereas like with the NCAA women, I don't think we get that same dialogue
No.
because women's the WNBA is not as robust as the NBA. The level of pay, the
Well, and like just look at what is it, like 40% of folks who were drafted in the last year like aren't even on
my wife
the
picked it
team
up.
that they are. Oh, hey, are you
Am
back?
I back yet?
Yeah. No, I was just
I
talking
saw
about
it
like
go away and I was like, oh.
it actually cut you off at a perfect spot to sort
Oh,
of say
good.
like
Okay.
um the WNBA isn't exactly there. And
Yeah.
just look at it from last year, like how many people who were drafted last year are on a roster, and um you get like a half dozen like who instantly
Yeah.
become stars, and like that's a tough gamble to be a star. I do have to say, like before we go, the most everyone had that like NIL, like extra year of eligibility takeaway from the Dan Patrick interview. My biggest takeaway was that Caitlin Clark said that she was growing up, a WNBA fan. She loved the Minnesota Lynx. She loved Maya Moore. And she said she thought she was so lucky because she got to grow up in Iowa, where it was only a 4-hour drive away to go to Minneapolis. And I felt such love in my heart because that is the most Midwestern heartland statement ever, to say it's only a 4-hour drive somewhere.
I
Like,
love that.
absolutely. Like, that's my kind of energy. That's my kind of people.
Yeah, that's awesome. And she'll be successful in the W
For
anyway. I
sure.
mean, she's going to come in when
Wherever.
she wants to and will excel, I'm sure. But
Mhm.
there is something fun about kind of staying at the top for an extra year instead of having to start over from
To just be able to have that
kind of day
agency
one to be the
is
rookie again.
amazing. Yeah.
Yeah.
Mhm.
So
For sure.
I wouldn't blame her, but I'll be curious what happens with all of them. I mean, there's so many players that applies to. So
100%.
yeah, gonna be fun though. Get
Yeah.
some more super teams, some rookie super teams would be fun. Give these the Aces and the Liberty a run for their money.
Yeah. And shout out to the Nebraska women. Josh Shelley, all Big Ten first team. Love it. I almost screamed in a Girl Scout meeting, like watching my daughter, like when that news came across. So shout out to them.
Speaking
Uh,
of Girl Scouts, I think we're in cookie season.
we're in cookie season.
Yeah, you
We're
gotta drop that
crushing it.
link.
We're gonna
You gotta
drop some
drop
links,
that link.
and we're dropping that link tonight in Discord.
Yes, keep your eyes peeled. Buy all the cookies.
Buy all the
We
cookies.
should do
Don't even
some
look at the
giveaway
shipping
with like
charges.
receipts. Submit your Girl Scout cookie receipt for a chance to enter a
See,
drawing.
I feel like
Let me think about that.
I need to look at the rules of that, because like Girl Scouts like secretly stingy on some of the rule parts.
Oh, like that you can't
Like
encourage people
incentivizing
to
like
buy
sales
cookies.
competitions, things like that. Like, I don't know. Like we'll need to double check. I'm not saying
Encourage.
no,
What if
but
I do it?
ooh. Well,
If
then it's out of
I
my
were to
hands,
share the link
Kelsey.
and run.
Yeah.
Although I was a Girl Scout, so I don't know if I could get in trouble years later.
Have your alumni status
But
revoked, right?
yeah, my Girl Scout status is revoked.
There's only one now in Diamond Hands. I think it's just ABC Bakers at this point. Like, we've gone full monopoly in the Girl Scout land.
And they ship now, nationwide shipping.
Yeah, don't look at the prices. They're not ideal.
The shipping prices are not great.
Not great. Not great, Bob. Kelsey,
You
look
can
at
always
us.
buy from your local Girl Scout, but buy from Kevin and his family instead.
Oh, ginger snap. Okay. Cookie
Yep.
pun. Kapow.
There you
Kelsey,
go.
we made it.
We did it. We did a show.
We did a show. Checked off for 2023. We'll see you in 24.
See you guys next year.
Next year. Back to hiatus. All right.
We'll be back when we're back, is how we're doing this right now. So
Exactly.
we'll see you when we see you.
We're like Beyonce albums. Like, you do not know when we're coming.
Yeah. We'll drop them same day. You just have to be ready at all times. Tour won't happen for a while.
No.
Kind of
But see us at Soldier Field 2025.
Yeah. We're delaying another year.
That's fine.
Perfect. Well, we did it.
That's right.
We were here today, so that's what matters.
Win-win. Thanks, Kelsey.
Yeah. Next time, hopefully we will know more players on more teams. And yeah.
I hope so.
Cool. Well, thanks
All right.
everyone for tuning in. We will see you soon.
We out. Bye.